Squash XL Pro is an elite team that work hard to train, play and run squash events on our journey to climb the world rankings. Like, subscribe, comment, pick up some of our merch on Teespring.
Well, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the first semi-final of the Henderson PSA. It's the Rochelle Hobbs Open here at the Henderson Squash Club. And on court at the moment, you have Emma Miller. She is the top seed up against Lana Harrison, who is in the blue and the black. And these two players have played many, many times over the last year or so in domestic tournaments. And certainly expecting an entertaining game with the style of play, particularly Emma Miller, who likes to finish things off very quickly. Lana Harrison doesn't mind it being out there. And then we'll just have a look. And we'll have a look here at this semi-final with Sean Wiggin, who's joined me. And Sean, what are you expecting from this particular semi-final?
Yeah, it'll be a very interesting semi-final here. Of course, first big hit out of the year, so it'll be very fascinating what these two have done over the summer. It's good, and it's probably their first true test of the new year.
The first couple of rounds relatively straightforward for both players, able to make it through. And so what we've seen, the last tournament that we had was effectively the Nationals in early November at North Shore, and this is get back into it really soon as well. I mean, we're in February. This is very early for a squash season.
Well, this is the first of 5 straight events here in the Barfoot and Thompson series. So you've got this one here at Henderson. Next week will be men's and women will be in Epsom. Then it'll be the Auckland Open the following weekend at North Shore Squash Club, followed by the Eastern Bay of Plenty Open in Whakatane before it finishes off at Royal Oak. Yeah,
I mean, that's great. There's also a tournament that's going to be in Morrinsville, also in March as well.
Yeah,
so
I think that's after Royal Oak, the week after. Yeah,
I mean that's 5 to 6 weeks of squash. So for anybody who's a professional, semi-professional, what a great opportunity. Particularly when you've got the Challenger tournament for the men here, and particularly the Auckland Open, which is 10 and 5, I think it is.
Yeah.
So that's great.
And then also the women, I think Royal Oak is a 3K for them as well.
That's correct. Yeah, no, it's good because it does mean that players, particularly that make a living from squash, albeit whether it's coaching or whether it's playing, are able to take that opportunity because it's been limited opportunities over the last almost 18 months.
Yeah, and it'll also make it easier for them to also make a plan as well, which ones they'll want to play rather than sort of having to play all these tournaments in a row. Even after the Morrinsville one, there's already a few planned in May.
Yeah, a couple of satellites there.
Yes, already, and of course you've got Nationals, which is of course another big one in June, so it's already going to be a pretty busy schedule for the next 4 months or so.
We're looking at this particular match, already raced out to 4 each, and neither player really. I mean, they're going for it already. There's no sort of holding.
Well, Lana loves to really go for her shots, loves to hit it hard, so you always expect a good kill with her most of the time. And of course, Emma has very solid play as well. Very nice short game as well, so it'll be very interesting to see how they both handle each other's games. See another good shot there for Emma, setting the play up.
Retrieving, stays in.
It'll be very interesting in this game to see how long Lana can stay in the points like that one there. She'll be doing probably a little bit more running in this game to Emma.
Well, it was a bit of a double take there by Emma Miller. She thought she had it, the ball just sort of faded and dropped a lot more into that corner.
Well, that's probably one of Lana's strengths that no one really talks about. Everyone knows how hard she hits the ball, but they don't really know also how much she fights for the ball as well. Tries to get to every ball.
So a bit of a slap at the ball there from Emma Miller on that forehand. And just targeting it a little bit too low.
Yeah, Lana's hitting some pretty good length here, setting the ball up here. A few very good points for her.
And so the second women's semi-final, that is the second seed, Lauren Clark from Rad Plenty, up against Shelley Kitchen, and club captain in her own club here, former top 10 player. She doesn't mind me saying, well, she has no choice. I'm going to say it that she's over 40 years old, but extremely fit no matter what.
Oh, she's still got that same passion she had when she was a professional. She will.
Well, I said to her that she's probably fitter now than what she was as a pro.
Yeah, well, she always has that attitude. She'll give it her all on the court, expect her to really push hard to get a lot of shots back. Bit of a cheap error there from Lana there on the serve.
Well, that's the thing, she had a 2-point buffer, which is fantastic when you're 9-7 ahead. It's only so close to win, but then just giving one away with just forcing it too much.
It's a coach's worst nightmare when they see someone make that sort of mistake. But she makes up for it, has two game balls here, take the first game here.
I'd like to see both of these players slow down and play the point a little bit more. It's not going to happen though, is it?
No, well, that's not the way they play. They like to really keep the ball low and hard. As you see, Lana's getting the first game there. Give her a good confidence boost. They're getting...
Well, 11-8 the first game there to Lana Harrison. Over. All right, well, into the second game now. And of course, the first going 11-8 to Lana Harrison. And Sean Wigan, there was no real pattern there, was there? I don't think you're going to get patterns with these two.
No, well, and plus it's the first tournament of the year, so expect them to be very rusty with how they play as well. I think Emma sort of took things very easy after nationals, and then...
Well, even then, we're still at level 2. People have got to remember that. So there is still restrictions on the crowd size that you can have, which is 100. Possibly on Monday, Auckland will move into level 1 with the rest of the country, and that will make it easier for, well, certainly for the Auckland Open. We're expecting a lot of people coming to that. But it was not even there. We didn't know we were having this until late Wednesday night.
Yeah, it was not till the announcement came that we're going down to level 2 that we got told that it was going to be on. So it was certainly hard for, especially Aucklanders, being, we're not being able to do too much practice over that time, so it would be very hard to really get yourself ready for this sort of tournament, especially when you've got pretty much one day to get yourself ready.
Well, the great thing is that for the Auckland Open, that we're going to have pretty much a similar sort of entries to the national champs last year. I think there's only a couple of players out for the men's, for various reasons, and then the women's there'll be a couple of additions coming in as well. I think Winona Joe is coming in, and who else? A couple of Abby Palmer, I think, who had to pull out of this tournament, she'll be coming back into that as well. So there's a couple of additions. Natalie Says as well.
It's going to be some very good matches there. If you look at the draw for the first round of both the men's and women's opens, and of course being the Auckland Open, expect a lot of entries for the lower divisions as well. They want to just get involved at playing.
That's nice touch. What I like there with Emma Miller on that one, Sean, is that she just took the ball high up on her forehand, wasn't tempted to try and hit it hard, just took the pace off.
Well, that's what probably makes her slightly better than most of the other women's players. She can control the ball a lot better compared to, say, Lana, who can hit the ball really well, but really likes to hit it hard. So then you see her few shots here, just maybe going a bit too much to the back wall, rather than placing it compared to what Emma's been doing.
So it is a little bit of just staying in it there, Emma Miller. Lana Harrison, sorry. Just staying in this. However, and then we get that.
Yeah, you can tell Emma's starting to get her game going now. Maybe a bit slow at the beginning of the game, but now starting to
that was the lob serve.
Time her shots a lot better.
That's that lob serve that we've seen over the last couple of years that she does so well.
Almost got away with a mishit there.
Yeah. And that was the take the pace off the ball when your opponents think it's going to come back.
That's one of Lana's probably weaknesses, is handling that slower ball, especially when she wants to try and go short. And there's another one, just pace of the ball went a bit slower, a bit low, and
We're still racing through this match as well. It's not too many long rallies.
and Emma won't mind us just keeping the rallies short. Oh, that's a very nice shot there. Tried to actually move forward to the ball there that time from Lana.
Well, there was a triple boast from Emma Miller at one stage. I reckon she was going to try and hit every single wall possible, and if there was another one, she would have hit that as well. But in the end, Lana Harrison.
A few better drops here from Lana in those last 2 points. They're on a good roll here. 6-9, I think the score is now.
Something in the men's that I recall from last year was a satellite tournament here for the men at Henderson, and that was where Evan Williams defeated Elijah in the final. Comprehensively, I'm sure it was here for
Yeah, I think
satellite?
that was that Evan won that tournament against Elijah. Yeah, I think I remember that.
Because that was Elijah's first time that he'd made a final of a tournament. It was beaten comprehensively, but there was just a different age gap and experience gap there.
Yeah,
Elijah's
but
a year older.
even today, this looked a bit different on the court compared to the event last year, where he was maybe a bit more fragile at the front of the court, but today he looked a bit more in control, mixing the pace up, losing a really good game there.
Well, it's very rare that Emma Miller actually says much on court. When she questions, she doesn't really question that often, does
Well,
she?
she just gets on with it. She's certainly not one to ask for too much. She just gets on with it, which probably makes her a tough opponent to hate when you're playing her.
Well, that was a bit of a surprise in the end.
Yeah, big comeback there from Lana.
So up by 2 games to love now. The first 11-8 and the second 11-9. So yeah, I think she's got to be pretty happy with that comeback and to give herself a 2 games to love lead. Well, Sean Wigan, this third game, it's all Lana Harrison's really, because she's shown a good fight back in the second, a good lead in the first. So I don't know what we're going to expect for this, the third one.
Yeah, well, I think she was down like 9-4, I think, in that last game. So she's done well to come back from there. So it's going to be important now that she keeps the pressure going here.
And just a look of, I wouldn't call it desperation, but certainly Emma Miller looking up at the referees and just going, really?
Yeah, not too many calls for the refs in this game.
Oh, it's quite nice, actually.
Yeah, the refs won't mind this after some very tough men's matches to ref earlier today.
Well, I sort of expect that Lance against Evan will be an interesting one. Always, anytime Lance is in there, it's always interesting. He'll make comments.
Yeah, well, it'll be also depend on how he backs up from our game earlier today. There wasn't too much that happened in our game.
I mean, there was a lot of talking. You guys were both talking to each other a lot.
Yeah, well, that's sort of how Lance is, and so, the only way you can sort of handle it is sort of just join in and let him let him do it. It makes him look, especially if you can back up with a good point. Happens a few times in our match, and then started getting a bit more quieter later on in the game. And of course,
it's almost that fade there. It looks as though Lana had that one on her racket, and maybe it was just the pace actually beat her on that one.
Yeah, good. Yeah, some of Emma's drives today have just been going a little bit short.
Oh, that's good.
So that's a nice shot there. Yeah, some of her shots just been going a bit short today. Certainly not quite got a game going today. So Emma just getting a good lead here, but she would have learned from
She
the
had
previous games that Lana will keep pushing to the end. Lana looking very good on her feet today, getting through a lot of balls.
Well, we haven't really seen the unforced errors from Lana Harrison's game, which you'd perhaps traditionally see, where she might get put under pressure and she might try for too much. We haven't actually seen it in this match.
Yeah, she had a period in that second game maybe going for the wrong shot, going short, but she's been able to mix the pace up a lot more in this game compared to her game, say, last year, where she just really tried to hit the ball as hard as she could. Bit of a loose one there though from Lana.
I think that was just playing so low over the team that it was always going to be difficult to get back.
Another loose one there. Few nice shots there from Emma, getting a good lead here.
Oh, she's got that 9-3. This is reminiscent of the second game. So maybe she can just pull it back and not let it go like
I don't
last time.
think she'll want to make the same mistake as last time.
That's a better shot. Oh, that's nice.
Good retrieving though from Lana, getting every single ball back. Oh, that's a good pick up there.
Oh. Well done.
That's a great rally there from both players.
I mean, it was great retrieving by Lana, and in the end, Emma just played it well enough, stayed in it. Oh, that's a good shot. You know, it's so difficult when it shouldn't be so difficult, but when you've got this big lead and 1 point to actually win the game,
Okay,
she just did.
She just wanted off that one shot.
Yeah. So Sean, we're in this first semi-final with Lana Harrison having some trouble there with the door. I think you did as well earlier on.
Yeah, but I don't like something's wrong with that door there. It's not good.
Give something a kick is the next best way. And no, just the look that we got then.
Yeah, Henderson sold your doors out. They're a struggle.
There you go. It took the brains of Emma Miller and John from Scotch, New Zealand to sort that out.
How many people does it take to close the door?
You had issues this morning, and it's not saying they can actually get out, but they're now in. So this is the game number 4, and it is the top seed Emma Miller against Lana Harrison.
Not the best start there from Lana, a cheap error there. Probably frustrated with what happened just before.
That's a good shot. Good controlled play there by Lana
I feel like
Harrison.
that's what she's got to do a little bit more. Try and take the ball early when it goes short, and even just putting in a counter drop will catch Emma out a bit more.
Her temptation is to drive through the ball as hard as possible.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, and it would just be good to mix it up, especially if she can, because she's showing how quick she is on the court as well. gets her that advantage to get onto the ball much earlier than what Emma could possibly do in that situation.
Well, surprisingly, Sean, it's not quite as warm in here as... I mean, it's very warm outside, but the humidity hasn't hit the courts like it has done in the past.
Well, to Henderson's credit, they've sort of opened a lot of the doors and windows up, so they've just been able to get a little bit more air in it compared to previous experiences here.
Yeah, even the national champs about 3 years ago, and that was in winter, and it was...
Yeah, well,
it was so hot.
Yeah, well, it wasn't too... It was just
dripping.
There was a lot of condensation on the court, so it had a lot of skidding when you hit the ball, so it was very hard to control the game that well.
That was quite pleasant on the court. I mean, pleasant as in temperature-wise for you when you were there?
Yeah, certainly today it felt just the right temperature on the court today, which is what you would want in this sort of situation.
Don't lean on the door. Don't touch the door, people. You might not be able to get in or out.
Yeah, Emma not happy with the decision there, but she gets on with it straight away. Oh, nice drive there.
So tight to the wall, wasn't it?
Yeah, and she didn't hit the ball hard as well. She just focused on controlling the ball to the back. That sort of...
Wouldn't you say with just about every racket sport, and you're very familiar with a lot of them, that three-quarter pace is quite often a better option than full pace?
Yeah, and certainly in a lot of racket sports, you want to control certain situations, especially in a defensive position. The key is when you're in trouble to just slow the ball down and just focus on placement rather than just trying to smack a hard shot. So and certainly squash is a great example of that, because you need to have really good control to set up the points.
There we go with the stroke going the way of Emma Miller. The ball pretty much going between the legs of Lana, and looks as though at this rate we might be going 5. 10-3.
Yeah, just a few more mistakes from Lana in this game. But
and the double, there we go. So we are going 5, and that was 11-3, and the door opens at least. So we are going 5, and this is the first of the women's says. So Sean, we're going into this, the 5th game here between Emma Miller and Lana Harrison.
what a start for Lana in with that shot.
Yeah.
No apology either, just...
Did she hit more wall than ball by the sounds of it? Try and coach that one.
No, you can't coach those shots.
Yeah,
it's all about the racket. You buy the racket to use the frame as well, not just the strings.
Yeah, exactly. Goodness. All right, well, we're looking... Well, I don't know who's going to win this now, because, again, no pattern, but we don't expect it from these guys.
Well, I think the key here is how Lana gets herself back into this game, because especially in that last game, it just looked like she was all over the place, just trying to rush things rather than just what we saw in those first 2 games. Just slowed it down a little bit, just get her timing right, and then sort of set the ball up a little bit more. Especially with Emma, she uses the pace really well. If you hit the ball low and hard, but it goes short, she's able to use that pace to...
Well, Sean, how fast is this court playing today?
Yeah, well, when I played last night, the ball was flying straight away. So it's certainly showing to be a fast court. Okay. Maybe a little bit slower today compared to the matches yesterday, but certainly still have some very quick rallies on the court.
I don't know how she turned that into a winning shot, because Emma left it so late to drive through it, and then it just came back with no bounce at all.
That was better from Lana there, just putting up a high ball there just to get the length. Emma didn't quite hit the post right. Something Lana probably should try and do a little bit more in her game.
So in comparison to, say, the main court at North Shore that the Nationals will play on, what's the speed of this court against that court?
Well, the offshore last on the nationals was flying on.
But is that because
So,
of the heat?
well,
Or
a little bit. It was a little bit of the heat as well because here at Henderson you've got door open just across the court, so it's able to maybe get a little bit of air into it, just making it a tad cooler compared to what it could possibly be without the door being open. Oh, nice shot there from Emma.
It's a good rally. Well played. There was strategies in that one to try and get forward and take the ball.
Well, you can see she didn't just go for the winner, she focused more on just getting the ball tight. A bit of a collision there. Oh, that was not a great moment there.
Okay. But if you're wondering what the delay has been, it's that it was a racket to the head, the forehead of Lana Harrison. You can see on her head a bit of strapping, a little bit of a bandage there. I guess you'd call it a gash more than anything else in her head.
And who said squash isn't a contact sport?
Well, technically, no. I mean, we're at 5-all in the fifth. It's very tight. These two players have had a good match. It hasn't been too much physical contact. We're expecting that in some of the men's, well, both of the men's semi-finals coming up. This was just an accidental bracket. Clipping the forehead, would you think?
Well, Emma's certainly not like that to attack someone on purpose. She's certainly one of the more friendliest people on the court. Even when she argues, she tries to bring a good grin out to...
It wasn't a gushing blood from the gash, but it was... I think there's going to be a little bit of a lump there.
Yeah, it might be. Wouldn't want to see it tomorrow morning if it grows.
Yeah. I'm sure her young son will be very impressed that Mum got a racket to the head and there's a big bruise and a bit of a gash there. And I'm sure he will be very impressed. And have to see at 5-all. I mean, there's been no real pattern anyway throughout the whole match. But we'll have to see how it affects Lana Harrison. Is she positive? Does she come out a little bit hesitant about going close to the racket of Lana Millar's?
And it also affects Emma as well. You know, you've had a bit of a break as well. She had a bit of momentum going into the fifth, and now had this really long break. Can she sort of back it up? And even so, was she under a bit of pressure to call more less after what happened? Yeah, I think that was the right call to give a stroke there. Don't want another hit as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was Emma a bit hesitant to actually swing again. But it was a great first rally. And a very good drop from the backhand side.
Beautiful drive to the back there. Didn't hit the ball too hard, just controlled it really well to the back. And just died on that back corner. Emma just starting to make Lana move a bit now.
Mistimed it. Just didn't quite have her feet in the right spot, or was it the racket spin?
Yeah, well, she did a bit of moving there, so the legs were feeling it by that point. Here comes a very important point here for Lana. She won't want to get this, won't want to go too far behind.
Nice control. So it was the 2-point buffer. We've still got 8-6 there.
Well played there from Lana, some good placement there.
Yeah, good work. Able to put her opponent in a difficult position.
1 2-point buffer here now for Emma.
Now, from 9-7, I know we've seen it so many times that people have come back, but when you're at 9-7, it's yours to win, right?
Well, you'd think so, but we've seen a lot of that. It can quickly change in so many matches today. That's well played from Lana there.
There we go, one back.
8-9.
She was a lot more patient during that particular point.
Yeah, she's been much more controlled since coming back on the court. Hasn't gone too much on the shots.
There we go, back to 9 all. Well, we said we didn't really know whose game it was, and we still don't, and we're 9 all in the 5th.
Can't get any tighter than this. So stroke there for Emma, gives her match ball here. That's a good kill there from Lana, one of her favourite shots there. Certainly wouldn't want to miss that shot on the match ball down.
Good play.
So well played there from Emma, just a good tight ball to the front.
I mean, it was tight to the front, but also to the side balls. Just no room to move at all.
So another match ball here, 11-10. It's a stroke to finish it off. Well played from both players here.
That's a tough one. 12-10 in the 5th, and Emma Miller goes through.